When I think about how Abdu'l-Bahá related to other people, something that always strikes me is how he had this very, without any sense of morbidity, he had a very comfortable consciousness of death, which is something that I think is something we find quite difficult in the modern world. It's something that we find difficult to talk about, and perhaps we don't really want to think about it too much, especially in relation to the death of our loved ones, that they are going to die, that we are all going to die, and that maybe this is because we haven't really found a way to think about death that feels comfortable to us and reassuring. But of course, Abdu'l-Bahā's very willing awareness of the reality of death was inseparable from his sense of the eternality of the human soul. In all his interactions, all his interactions were really shot through with this consciousness of the eternal nature of the soul of the person that he was with. And often this consciousness would actually express itself very explicitly in his speech, especially when he was challenged. And one particularly striking example of this was when the family arrived in the prison city of Akka, and the whole population there saw them as hated criminals who were worthy of the utmost disdain. And when they arrived, at this time Abdu'l-Bahá was now he was in his mid-20s, and at that stage he had really taken it upon himself to act as a kind of assistant to his father, even as a deputy representing his father to officials and government ministers and the like. And so, as a representative of Baha'u'llah and the family and all the exiles, Abdu'l-Bahá was brought before the governor of Akka for a formal reading of the edict of the Sultan condemning the family to imprisonment. And the governor pulled out the edict of the Sultan and formally read it aloud. And the edict read that Baha'u'llah and the family and all the exiles were to be condemned to imprisonment forever. And the governor said to Abdu'l-Bahá, "Do you have anything to say to that?" And Abdu'l-Bahá looked at the governor and he said, "The edict is meaningless." And the governor became furious, and he shot back at Abdu'l-Bahá, saying, How dare you say such a thing? These are the words of our Sultan, our king. How can you say that these words are meaningless?" And Abdu'l-Bahá calmly responded, and he said to the governor, "It is meaningless to say that we will be imprisoned forever, because dead or alive, someday we will leave this prison." And it suddenly dawned on the governor that here was a prisoner who had been dumped in his city as a hated infidel, but who actually possessed a vast, expansive vision of the nature of life and death. And of course that vision, that big picture that Abdu'l-Bahá always carried in his consciousness, expressed itself in his actions and over time became this powerful force for good for the people in the prison city. Hi there, I'm doing these short videos throughout 2021 in honor of the centenary of the passing of Abdu'l-Bahá, whose writings are the basis of my new album Home of Light, which is coming out one song at a time throughout the year. All these short stories come from this book, Vignettes from the Life of Abdu'l-Bahá by Annamarie Honnold, and I hope these little anecdotes give us some glimpses into Abdu'l-Bahā's life during this special year. Also, if you'd like a copy of the album, since Home of Light has been made through the support of so many friends around the world, I've decided to give it away as a gift on behalf of everybody who helped to make it. So if you'd like to receive the album, you can sign up at my website, lukeslott.com. It's linked in the description below. And in November, prior to the centenary itself, you'll receive the album as a gift in celebration of Abdu'l-Bahā's life. So I appreciate if you hit the like and subscribe buttons, and if you'd like to hear the story behind the album, you can check out my podcast, A Story of Light, also linked in the description below.